Hi, my name is Dave Williams, and I'd like to welcome you to my new series of tapes here on Island Entertainment. In this series of tapes, we will be covering a number of techniques from the area of judo that will help you be able to be successful in judo as well as in grappling and other mixed martial arts. Many people have asked me over the years what it takes to become a champion in judo. Well, in this series of tapes, we are going to show you some of the techniques that are going to help make you a champion. Specifically those that help me become the champion that I have become. Now, many people also say, well, what do you have to do to become a champion? Well, we're going to answer that question for you. One of the biggest keys in becoming a very good athlete is being able to warm up the core part of the body. Many people like to try to do a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, and stuff like that. But the big key is being able to loosen up your hips, loosen up your core. Some of the exercises that I'm going to show you in just a second are going to make you a better athlete. Down here on the mat, this is where the key to warming up the body is most important. Now, many of the people that want to try to become great athletes would, as I said earlier, want to do push-ups. Great, you get big arms, maybe a big chest, but it does nothing for helping your mobility in your hips. So, some of the exercises you might want to try, one, are called windmills. This is the fashion that you want to do. You want your feet to do a motion with one leg, then with the other. Try going both directions, so you can do both as well. And then put them together in an egg beater fashion. In doing so, you will look, my hips are moving. Since my hips are moving, they are getting worked. Since they're getting worked, that means that they're getting loose. And if they're loose, you can move. Another very important exercise that will help you loosen up your hips and become strong in your core are called ebi. Okay? The reason that you're going to do these is because you want your hips to be able to go side to side. The fashion that you're going to use here is you're going to start on your back, you're going to have your knees up, then you're going to take your hips and you're going to move them off to the side, but at the same time use your hands to push down. So, like this. Or come back and push out to the other side. Come back, do it again. Take a moment, pause the tape and try it out right now. Now that you've tried this part of the technique, you should understand why you're doing it. Now, understand, if somebody is approaching me from this angle, I need to be able to push them away. So it isn't just a matter of loosening up my hips, but it's also a matter of helping you learn to keep people away from you. So if I have somebody coming at me here, I keep my hands up in front, I push my hips away, and I push them away. If they keep coming, here, push out. Come back, push out. Come back, push out. So I'm getting two bangs with my buck here. I'm getting one, I'm getting a nice core. Two, I'm getting to learn to push somebody away so that I can get away from them and have some defense for myself. Now, we need to cover one other exercise. If a person's coming at me this way, it's a possibility that they could come from my top as well. So I need to do the same exercise in the inverse. So here, instead of coming and bringing my hips out, I want to bring my hips down, which means I need to use my shoulders, which is another part of my core. So I come down, push up. So my hips still come down, but out. I bring my hips in this direction. That way, I feel a nice pull right here. And this is where you should feel it. Come back, come down, push up. Now I feel it here. And I'm pushing a person away right here. One more time, here, up. Take a second and try this technique out. All right, now that you've learned to warm up the core, there are other exercises you can do. I'm sure that whatever instructors you have out there, and there are many people that can tell you different things to warm up, but these are just a few to make sure that you get your hips warm and your core warm. Now we have to talk self-defense. One of the keys is being able to fall properly. Now, I know there's some professors out there who believe that they don't want to teach their students to fall. That's fine for them. But for our purposes, we want you to learn to fall safely. We want you to know that, hey, yeah, you may be able to be a good champion, but every champion has to fall sometime or another. So, here's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with the normal break fall. Okay? You want to start with one leg slightly bent, laying back. You want to be onto your side, not your back. You're slightly on your side, put one hand over your stomach, one foot flat on the ground, the other hand comes up across the body. Now some people may chop the mat, you don't want to do that. You want to slap the mat, right here. You want to nice, loud slap. What you're doing, in case you haven't realized, is that when you're falling, your body could land flat. And I'm sure many of you have landed in this manner. And you hurt your lungs and you can't breathe. Well, that's because your lungs are getting compressed. What you're doing when you're landing in an angle is you're allowing your body to be able to still be able to breathe and not get injured. So we don't ever want to be like this, laying straight flat on our back, because now we're hurt. Land a little bit to the side, right out here, and take the energy of the fall out away from your body through your arm and your leg. Take this time and try it out right now. Welcome back. I hope that worked well for you. Now we need to discuss some of the particulars of what you're doing. Now it's wonderful to have this nice position and slapping the mat. But if we don't do a couple of things, we might hurt ourselves. So make sure that you always keep your head up. Never let your head touch the ground. If it does, you're probably going to get hurt. So let's do it in this fashion. Here, always put your chin to your chest, looking down. Here, slap the mat. Okay? Now, you can take this exercise and you can add on to it, which also is part of your warm-up. You can come from this direction. Here, slap, come up, other side. Come back, come back. Additionally, once you've gotten this aspect down, you now can move to a squatting position. Now, once you've gotten to this position, you need to know where to go with the exercise. Take the leg, slide it right out in front of you, and do the same thing you just did, slapping the mat. Come back up, and do the other side. Take a second and try this out. Now, falling straight to the side is a great thing. However, sometimes you will fall backwards, and you need to be prepared for that. So we have a slap that will handle that aspect as well. We're on our back. Legs should be out in front of you. Bring your hands up across your body. Again, keeping our head up. Don't ever put your head down. Here. Slap the mat. Again, when you get better at it, you can then go to squatting. Go back. Please try that out now. Now that we've done all the stuff we need to do on the ground for right now, we need to figure out how we're going to teach you how to do the standing part of it. So instead of just jumping straight up, we need to take you from a low level to high level, since not everybody is going to be able to just go diving through the air. What you need to do is this. You start with your feet together, step out, squat down, so now you're low. You shouldn't be nervous right now. You should be okay down here. Put your support hand down. Your support hand is always going to be the hand that is next to the knee that's pointing down. Here. The other hand will come around in a circle. And what you're going to do is you're going to use this circle right between your legs. Bring your hand through and roll through. So now I'm sitting in the same position. Again, one more time from this angle. Here, we put our hand down, bring our hand through. It is pivotal that you bring this hand straight through the leg. And look back. Look back away, push off with this foot here. Now, so you can see it from this angle, just so you can see that I can do it both left and right. Here, my support hand, other hand, I'm going to look away and through. Now, we're assuming that you've done all of these warm-ups and all of the exercises correctly. Now it's time to get ready to get some good techniques going. Now, there are a couple of drills that will take you through. Some of the little particulars are going to be given later on about the technique. However, for right now, I want you to consider taking a mat area. If you don't have a mat area at home, consider getting a pair of shoes. A pair of shoes will do just the same thing that I'm about to do here. The line here and the line here, I want to keep my feet within that boundary. for this particular technique. All I'm going to do is take a step 1, step 2, step behind myself, step 3. One more time. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So when you start doing it and it comes out fast, it'll look like this. Try this out right now. Okay, for those of you who are wondering why these shoes are here, watch what my feet are doing. Now remember, a second ago we were going 1, 2, 3, and that's how we're going to continue to do everything. We'll keep it at a count so you can keep pace. What I want to do here with the shoes, I want to imagine that is a person standing in front of me. You can go 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. If you do it quickly, you're here, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Try this out, and in a minute we'll show you a new technique. Now that we have learned how to do the bottom work, the stuff that's going to help our hips become stronger, our core become more warm, now we need to learn how to potentially start throwing somebody. I personally use a method called trust. Now, from this position, could you please kneel down? You have your partner kneel down. What you want to use is a line. So somewhere in your room you can either draw a line on the mat that you're using, use a split in the mat, just as I'm using here. The person will put their knees on either side of the line. They'll then take their hands and put them on your hips. Once I'm at this point, I want to walk back, and it's very important that my partner stays strong in the back, so he doesn't sag in the middle, or that he doesn't keep his butt way out, because that's not promoting trust, and you're not learning anything. So he puts his hands here. Now he's putting all of his pressure on me. I'm learning what it feels like to have somebody pushing on me. Now what I will do is I will step out to the side and turn facing you. He will fall just as we have just practiced in our last section. My step, so that you can see, I'm stepping 1, my foot is turning towards you, 2. Of course, when I'm here, I do have to do both sides. If you have a partner, try it right now. Now that you've already finished doing it on the ground, you should feel more confident, and your partner should feel more confident with the fact that they're not going to get hurt when they fall. At this point, you want to take the arms and put them on your shoulders. This is going to be very important because this is reality. This is where an opponent will be. They will be standing in front of you, and here, when they lean, this is the pressure that you're going to feel when you're doing the actual technique. So now, he's in trust. He is trusting me that I'm not going to just walk away, that I am just going to hold here on this gi. I'm going to step 1, step 2. Okay, now that you've learned how to do these very basic things, now you need to start learning what the actual techniques are going to look like. The first technique that we're going to talk about is called Tai Otoshi, or body drop. Now, this technique comes off of the thing that we have just done, this trust aspect plus the steps. What we're going to do is have our opponent grab hold of us here. He can lean on us because we're just learning how to do this properly. Have him lean on us so we don't have to do everything that we will have to do in a minute. You step on the line. Remember, don't ever lose our line. Step on the line, step outside the line, then step back across the line. So now my feet are on equal sides of the line. At this point, I just turn. Okay? Understand that if his pressure is totally on me and he's totally holding on and he's in this manner, all I need to do is step on the line, turn outside the line, and he will go. Okay? When you actually do the actual technique, I need to pull. I need to turn. I need to turn my body. It is very important that you take this hand here and look at your watch. If you look at your watch, you're going to be pulling in the correct manner. The other hand, which is on the other side, is going to drive straight up in the air in this fashion, looking like a punch. Now, I don't want to take my elbow in the air. I want to take my arm, coming right up underneath his armpit, just like a punch. So when I'm stepping, one, my hand is up, my hand is here, step, behind the line, I'm still holding, now I'm getting ready to punch, step across, throw. We'll do it from this angle so you can see the whole thing. Remember our line, never forget your line. Step one, look at my watch. Step two, get ready to punch. Step three, punch. Take some time and try this technique out. Now what we need to look at, I assume that everything has gone well and your partner is still in front of you and was willing to work with you. One thing that you need to put together is the fact that we have the technique that we've just done, plus the footwork that you've just gotten done working on. The footwork is very important because you want to be able to create speed when you're doing a technique. If you don't have speed, the technique is probably not going to work as efficiently. So, if you want to look what Tai Otoshi should look like at real speed, I'll do this. I'll step to the side. I want to come quick, 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 quick. If I have a person here, I'm going to do the same thing, same speed. Now, doing drills like that is what is going to make you a champion. If you're able to get the speed, you're able to get the precise foot position, you're able to get the nice pull, the nice turn, the nice torque of your body, you will make Tai Otoshi work for you. Try this out a little bit more with your partner, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Now that you've had an opportunity to work on these techniques, we want to show you a little bit more about how this technique can work for you. But we should cover a couple of issues. In judo, it is illegal to grab on the inside of the gi, in the sleeve or in the ankle. So, stay away from doing that. That said, let's consider looking at how a taller person would use Tai Otoshi against a shorter person. Now, we start with Tai Otoshi, and for the tall people, you're going to love this because it's a throw that is made for you. Short people want to come into you. They want to be right next to you where they can get into their techniques and get underneath you. Taller people, you want to be able to keep these people away, which is what I plan to do with him. Now, a traditional judo grip will be one hand on the sleeve, one hand on the lapel, and then I will do the same here and here. Now, this is only if you're right on right. If we're right on left, he would turn and we would have two hands on sleeve, two hands on lapel. This we'll cover in just a moment. For right now, for a right on right situation, if I am going to compete against a person that is shorter than me and I want to throw Tai Otoshi, remember we want to consider our line here. This can always be our point of reference. Remember, the short person wants to be right here. They're happy right here. I'm not happy here because I can't do anything. I want to be able to push this person out. At the same time I'm pushing out, I'm pushing down with my wrist. I'm doing this motion with my wrist. This motion with a shorter person, as I'm stepping back, will pop his hand down my gi or completely off, which will allow him to grab right here on my gi, which is where I want him to grab. In this position, he is not comfortable. I have just now made him as tall as I am. This is bad for him because he is not used to being this tall. I'm now stepping, at the same time I've done this, turning and finishing my technique. One more time from this angle. We have our line. Short person's holding on. Down, bring my shoulder back. He regrips. I'm on my line. Step, turn, and finish. Try this out with your partner right now. Now that we've covered how to handle a shorter person, now we need to handle somebody equivalent, somebody about the same size. It could be a little bit but about the same size. If we try to do the same type of motion that we just did against the smaller person, we're going to be in trouble because this person is more than likely going to be of equal strength. I need to do something that's going to take away from his strength and help me. In this position, I still take my step, but if I leave this arm that is back here, if I leave it back with him, he's liable to post out with this hand. So as I try to come, he'll post, and that will block out my arm. And I can't have that. I need to make sure this person moves. So, from this position, I need to take my step, make my pull. As I come across, I'm going to release with this hand, bring it straight across, hit him in the shoulder, and then when I turn, this hand will slide right to the elbow. What I'm doing is I'm putting all of his weight onto this foot. So if I take away from his power, which is on that side, if he can't post me out, then I have a better opportunity of getting my throw. So come up, out, turn. Now this hand's going to slide, and I'm going to come down. Here. One more time from this angle. Step, release, come across, turn, slide, finish. Try this with your partner. At full speed, this technique will look this way. Now that you've handled the small guy, and you've handled the average guy, you now have to learn how to handle the big guys. Now, of course, my partner here is not the biggest person in the world, but what we're going to cover right now will be equal for all big guys and how you can try to throw them with Tai Otoshi. The biggest problem that little people have trying to throw this technique is being able to move this much muscle from this way or whatever the way. So what we need to do is make the motion ourselves. So whereas before we stepped and pulled and that was enough to make the motion, now we have to do something a little bit different. This time what I'm going to do, my partner is going to stand right here. When I take my step, I'm going to take this foot and I'm going to step way back behind. At the same time, I'm going to be pushing through with my hand. Now, understand for the small person, this is where I've grabbed the last 2 times. I will not grab here on a big person because I feel very uncomfortable. He's probably going to slaughter me if I stand here equal with him. I want to go to the outside shoulder, just outside the shoulder, not way in the back, just I can be on the shoulder or just behind the shoulder. I then want to roll my wrist in this fashion, roll it into him. As I'm taking that roll, I'm taking a step with this back foot, back here. As you can see, his body has already started moving and I'm not even pulling. So from here, I have my line, I'm pulling, rolling, stepping. The deeper my steps, the more he'll move. Here. Now, one more time, we'll try it on the line so you make sure you see it right. Remember, always have your line. My arm on the back. I still have my pull hand here. Step. Start my roll with my wrist. Here. Step deep. Pull through. And finish. As I said earlier, this technique can be used specifically for tall people, to be used against shorter people. However, if you're short and you really want to try this technique, this is the way to get it done. Now, for one of the biggest problems that a judo competitor will ever run into, the left on right fight. Remember what we talked earlier, when you have a left on right, you have one person holding sleeve and the other person's holding the exact same sleeve, and the lapel is being held as well. Now, the problem with the left and right fight is that we both want the same thing. We both want to pull either here or I want to pull him here. So this is the fight right here. You may go to a tournament and you'll see 2 guys doing this for the whole match and wondering what they're doing. Well, they're trying to get hold here. As I was told when I was a kid, this is a 50-50 line right here. Whoever wins this fight is going to win the match and get the throw. For our point right here, using for Tai Otoshi, we need to try to do something to this person that makes them uncomfortable. Keep in mind, everybody who is either tall or a lefty or righty wants to be comfortable. So, if he's a lefty, what I want to try to do to him is make him into something he's not. He's not a righty, so he's not going to be comfortable. So, what I can do is I can use this foot to come through, kick this foot out, or sweep this foot out. If you look at him now, he's now a righty. Here, he's a righty. Okay? Big key that I need to do once I've made that sweep here is that now I need to take this same foot without stopping. So it's a kick, turn, then come across. Okay? A couple of things that I'm doing. With this hand, even if it's a big guy or whatever, here I'm popping this person's elbow up into the air with my arm. Bringing it up, that's causing their weight to come this way. If I kick the foot and do it all at the same time, it really makes him turn. Now I can turn and finish the throw. We'll try this one more time. Lefty, can't get in, can't make him let go of this hand, can't pull it across. I got to do something. Kick foot, turn, rotate the arm, step back, and finish the technique. One more time from this angle. Here, step, turn, spin, finish. Try this with your partner right now. When you compete in judo, jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be, you have to be able to tell what side the person is. You have to be able to tell if they were a right or a left-handed player. If you don't do that, it could be very bad when they start throwing you to the side that you're not expecting. So, now that you understand how to move your feet from 1, 2, and 3, which we talked about just a second ago, you need to understand what the person is. So, when you come out on the mat, if the person has a right leg forward and a right lead hand forward, chances are that person's going to be a right-handed player. And now you'll be able to throw them your defenses and all your counters to what that person may do. On the other side, the person may have a left foot forward and a left hand lead. This would be a left-handed player. Now, both of these type of athletes have some things that are good and some things that are bad as to their particular style of doing judo. I will now show you a couple of methods of using these type of gripping patterns against a same side player and an opposite side player. All right, now that we've covered what a left and a right looks like, we need to discover what kind of gripping patterns we can use. I will right now demonstrate some that are not used. Gripping this manner is not very good. It won't help you. You want to try to grab the seam. There's a seam right here in the gi. Try to put your fingers in that little seam and lock down with your thumb in this manner. You will notice how tight the gi gets. From here, nice and loose, to tight. Most techniques that we're going to talk about are going to use this format. The hand on the other side will either go here on the lapel, shoulder, or back. Always with the thumb up. When you're grabbing, you're not always holding with all your fingers. The thumb usually isn't necessary to hold on, and sometimes will get pushed straight down if you try to hold on too tight. So you want to be able to have your fingers strong but loose all at the same time, so that if he comes up to bring your hand down, that I don't injure my fingers and then I cannot continue the competition. I want to be able to be strong, again, driving with these 3 fingers into the chest, into the clothing, right here. Okay? Now, a couple of problems that you have with gripping. We talked about the lefty-righty situation. If we have 2 straight right, 1 hand lapel, 1 hand sleeve, again on the other side, this is how this would look in competition, and you would move around and try to throw your opponent. If you have 2 people that are slightly right, you will look this way. And again, we would try our technique. One very interesting method of seeing people fight is two extremes. They will basically be foot to foot, hand to hand, and pulling back and forth at each other this manner. Now, all of these have their pros and cons. Somebody who's an extreme has a big benefit against somebody who's just straight because their foot is already halfway in. The downside is they can be countered a lot easier because that foot is forward. So if you're going to be an extreme competitor, make sure that you know the downfalls as well as the benefits. Now, if you have somebody who's a lefty, a straight lefty against a righty, you're going to look like this. So we're still pretty much looking like we did a second ago. But now if you had two semi-right and left, we end up like this. And this is another very interesting fight. Two extreme, he is extreme left, I'm extreme right. When this fight happens, very rarely will this hand be here. And whoever does get this hand usually wins because the throw will happen here. I hope this is useful, and you can try it out with your opponent right now. Now that you've mastered the technique, we need to talk about how to block the technique from occurring to you, or better yet, stopping your opponent from even getting started. When we are in this position here, and the person's going to come across, here, remember, he needs me to come this direction. If I am going to block him, I must stop this hip from being able to come across, and I must pull back with this hand to keep him from pulling. That's where I'm going to be able to block this person. So he's going to come in, I'm going to bring my hand, this other hand, release wherever it was, to here, so it acts as a block against his hip. Okay? I am then using my hip as a push between my hand and his hip, which helps push his hip away even more. So as he comes in, I block, hip, and I pull back. That's going to take his hand away from my hip. So here he comes in, again, here. From this position, I'm not in a lot of danger. He won't come back and hit me with something else. One more time, real-time speed. And now I can reset. Try this out with your partner. Now, there's another aspect. You can block, yes, but you can also evade. Sometimes you can anticipate knowing that a particular athlete is going to be a right side and his favorite combination is ending in a Tai Otoshi. So if he's going to come in, and I know he's going to come in for a Tai Otoshi, I can evade and set up a counter for myself later on. So if he comes in on his Tai, comes in, I anticipated it, I can jump over the outside of it and end up in this position. So now we're back to where we were, and I was never in danger. He can come in again, here, anticipate, jump over. One more time, he'll come in, and jump over. Try this with your opponent and see if you can make this happen a little bit faster. Okay? So, when you try this at home, try this with your partner. Come in. Here, keep coming in. If you do it in that manner, you will learn how to make sure you learn how to evade more efficiently. We've covered how to block the Tai Otoshi. We've covered how to evade the Tai Otoshi. But now, how about countering the Tai Otoshi? Assuming we know that our competitor is going to be out here and he's going to be throwing the Tai Otoshi and it's going to go to the right side, we put all that in to a mix and we know that what the counter can be, or what numerous counters can be. One, for example, you will come and you know he's going to come with the right. Instead of grabbing here, low on the sleeve, you want to grab up a little bit higher, back here on the back. There's a line back here, you can see the seam. I want to grab right below the seam. It's a nice strong part of the gi and it won't tear away as easy. So I'm now in this position. I know he's coming with the Tai. So here he's going to come with the Tai. He's going to come in. I'm going to evade. As I evade his attack, I am now going to start my turn and keep him going. So stepping, I step when he steps, boom, boom, and I block his foot as I go through. So one more time, real speed, he'll come in. I must pull through with his hand. If I do not pull through with this hand, I will be off balance and will fall backwards. So, one more time. Here, I know he's coming, he comes. Pull through. Try this with your partner at home. Okay, we've done all the work on Tai Otoshi that we can do today. We've got doing the technique, we've got evading, we've got counters, we've got blocking. But when you actually get to the competition, the person's not going to stand there and just get thrown. You're going to have to fight for it. In our situation here, we have two fighters. I know by earlier, I got a lefty on my hands here. How am I going to get to that hand? He's not going to give it to me. I got to fight for it. So if I want that hand, I can do one of two things. I can grab it, pull it into me, or I can reach out, grab his lapel, then grab the arm and step here. So if I do it again, grab here. Then I can finish my technique with the Tai that we talked about second. Now, what he's going to try to do, the minute I get this hand here, he's going to come away from me. He's going to try to pull that thing away so I have nothing. I got to figure out how to hold on to that and react to his reaction. So there's my one. His two is to pull away. Here, I have to be ready for number three, which is I'm going to come back up over the top and pull him back down. Once I do that, of course, he's going to grab hold of my arm because that's what he wanted all along. Here, and now I'm going to come back. Now remember, he's a lefty. He's in a bad position right now. I can get my Tai. I can make it work. Now, here, one more time. Here, through, rips through, come up, he'll come back. Here, now, I come through, Tai. One more time, from this angle. Grab, pulls back, come up, back, finish. For a righty situation, when we're both here, the arms are both right here, ready to be grabbed. We have to figure out how to get a hold of this without getting dumped ourselves. So when I'm grabbing on a righty-righty, I want to grab the arm but pull it forward immediately. I don't want to let it sit here because then my arm's sitting right there and he's going to grab me. And I don't want that. I hate equal. Here, bring it in, pull it here. He, of course, is going to pull back and try to rip the hand free by pulling it back and away. So he's going to take this hand and pull it away from me. So I need to anticipate that. Remember we did earlier? This step, it's going to come in right now. I'm going to get hold of the hand, pull it in. As he starts to pull, I'm going to step, turn, and follow his pull and let him throw himself. One more time. I'm going to come in, grab. He'll pull back and away. This time, when he tries to pull back and away, I hold it, reach, step, turn. Right into the throw. With your partner, try this route right now. Now, we covered how to make sure that we can get the Tai Otoshi from a gripping point of view. But watch what happens when you have a big guy. Big guys will always come up over the top and try to just punish you if they can. And they make you feel uncomfortable. You can take this against them. Remember, we step around on big guys because we need to keep to the outside of them. Here, he comes over, he's going to try to crunch me. I'm not happy, but he's giving me his hand. And that's what I wanted. I'm uncomfortable, that's fine. Here, to block his throw, or him throwing me this direction, I want to use my forehead right there in his shoulder. I use the front of my head, not the top of my head, front of my forehead, right here in the shoulder. So here, I block so he can't bring me up and back. Here, now I arch my back coming away, and once I've done this, I step back behind and finish with this hand coming across. So here, here, and the big guy can fall just as quick. One more time. Here, he comes over the top. I'm uncomfortable, I don't like it. Here, block his throw with my head, get my hand, Here, step, turn around, lock, my hand coming across, and throw. Live speed. You can try that with your partner at home right now. Many people hate when big guys bring this hand up over the top. It's one of the worst experiences in the world unless you know how to deal with it. One, grab up just where we grabbed before on the seam. As I come here, I'm going to put pressure with this hand on the elbow. Then I'm going to take this hand, put it right up here on his wrist, peel it off. If you heard that, it really scratched right as he's pulling it off. So here, off. And then from here, I don't do anything. I keep this power right here, take my step behind, throw. One more time for this angle. Comes up, over the top, I'm uncomfortable, grab seam, bring hand up, down, and finish. Now we've done everything you could possibly do with Tai Otoshi, but now we need to put it all together. We've got the tournament versions, we've got the regular version, we did drills, but here's the key. You must have live bodies in order to make all of this happen for you. If you are lucky enough to have two bodies other than yourself, you can have partners to do this next drill with. And it's an extension of you going back and forth that we talked about earlier. So, in this time, you'll start with one direction with this partner here. If you have different sizes, great. If not, don't worry about it. But you want to practice getting the grip that you want and making the throw happen. So, I'm going to come here. If you keep doing it in that manner, you will A, get good conditioning because you'll get winded, but B, you'll learn how to throw people very fast. And when you go into competition, that's what you want. Thank you for joining me on this, my first tape with the Island Entertainment Group. I hope that you learned a lot about the technique of Tai Otoshi. Now, remember that if you try to do any of the Tai Otoshis, that you have to make it work for your body. You're not going to be able to do it exactly the same way I or any of my assistants here have done. Again, I want to thank David Camarillo, John Cato, Patrick Kong for being here and helping me out in my first tape, and I look forward to seeing you on the mat.